What's up guys, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing weekly bias. This is one of the essential look backs, I guess you could say, or analysis types that I do that is super important going into the week, and this is what I do every single week. Basically why it matters so much is because going into every day of that week, particular week, I will frame the daily bias based off of the weekly bias. And so you look at the higher time frame PDAs that you will mark out on the weekly bias, and we'll match it up with the daily bias, and then you'll go from there to then formulate your entire bias of that session. So we'll do a weekly bias on this week. So I'm going to get rid of this candlestick, and we'll determine and write down the parameters that I want to see and pretend like we're on the weekend here, and so there's no candlestick here at all, and just I'll write down all the parameters that I look at, and we'll determine if we are considered still bullish or if we go down below a certain area where we could look for some sort of lower targets and see lower prices. And I will also write down what areas I want to see hold to then go higher and target ultimately highs and liquidity. So going into this, let's get rid of the weekly candlestick that I said we're going to forecast. So straight away, we had a massive wick last week because we took out this high and this high, and we then got a rejection to the downside back into this weekly candlestick here. So right away, I see on the weekly chart, sorry guys about this is a new update, can't get rid of it. So we're just gonna have to move the chart to the side. Right away, what I see is this weekly bearish candlestick. What I want to do with that is this could potentially act as a order block. So I want to mark it out, order block. And you could also put a W just so you know it's a weekly order block. And ultimately, I want to see if price could hold this order block right here. Also, what I noticed is that we do have a gap here. So for a low target, for lower targets, I would like to see this gap get filled in. If we come down below a certain area, right guys, we can't just expect okay, we're bearish this week. What determines if we're bearish this week? So now what I see right away is, well, like I mentioned before, we do have this weekly order block. Let's break that down into quadrants. So we have the high, the 3/4 of the order block, half of it, a quarter, and the low. So what I want to see is, well, the consequent encroachment, or what we call for a order block specifically, is a mean threshold, which is the center mark of the order block. I want to see price. I want to see if price can stay above that. So let's mark that out. Now let's write W for weekly, mean threshold, MT. That's all you need. Order block. You could either put it together or separate. I like it together, so it's more clean. Mean threshold of the order block. And so I would like to see, I would prefer price to stay above this line here. And preferably it could go below it, but I would prefer it to close above it. If it starts closing below it on a higher time frame, such as the 4 hour or the 1 hour, then I'd be like, okay, price can then come for this low and then automatically just drive lower, since there's obviously no overlapping wicks here. So we could definitely just use this area as a magnet, and price could absolutely just run for this target here. On lower targets also, we have this consequent encroachment of the wick. This is just some more advanced stuff, guys. I didn't really teach this, but the midpoint of the wick, you can also target that, and also this BISI right here, this weekly BISI. So that's what it is for the downside. So we have the targets, and we have the determination if we are bearish. So if we're bullish, I would like to see these levels hold as support. And well, what do we have as targets here on the weekly? I will also go down to the daily and the 4 hour and possibly the 1 hour for the weekly analysis. Probably not the 1 hour. I'll check it out if it's pertinent for this video. But I want to stay on the higher time frames just so I don't confuse you guys, and just there's a bunch of PDAs. I want to keep it super simple. You don't really need to go too in depth with this. It's just an overview of the weekly bias. So right away for upside targets, I see this high, previous week's high. Let's mark that out. I also see all-time highs here. Could also mark that out. Obviously, this high is a higher probability target than this high, so definitely watch out for this high. And also, like I mentioned before, the wick consequent encroachment here, you could also use this one as well. So I wouldn't mark that out, but definitely keep it in mind. So since we got the targets for the weekly bias on the upside, let's go down to the daily. Let's see what happened here during the previous week's price action. So right away, as you can see, Friday we came down with a massive wick, so we did get a rejection here. Can we see what happened? So yeah, there's clearly a sweep here, so definitely keep that in mind. So we took liquidity, so it's like, do we want to come back down here since we already took liquidity and there's a massive rejection? The chances are no, because we're also in a bullish trend. Also, we filled in this fair value gap here. I know I'm throwing a lot of things at you guys, but just follow and you'll understand it. Especially listen to what I'm saying here and go back test it too. It'll help a lot. Backtesting is definitely something you have to do. Spend a bunch of hours on it, you'll master the craft. So yeah, we got on Monday, we just got a massive push up, creating an order block here too. So that's why this also got a massive bounce. Tuesday came down, filled in this order block part of it in the upper portion. And also, what do we have here? This is a breaker block. I'm not going to explain all these random PDRs. It's all basically the same thing. It's just other confluences that make it more high probability that we're going to get a bounce or some price level is going to hold. I'm not going to explain all that to you. I just want to explain to you guys the more pertinent PDRs that are more simple and just easier to see, like the fair value gap, for example. Yeah, so we came down, breaker block held, and then we targeted the highs, and we took it out on Wednesday. So then on Thursday came up, I filled in this imbalance after taking out this high, and we got a drop lower. Friday, like I said, we did get a rejection to the downside and filled in this order block. So let's mark out the quadrants of the order block. So we came to the upper quarter of it and then got a massive push higher. Also, keeping in mind that we took out this low. We also do have this wick here that you guys want to pay attention to. I'll mark that out. So wick CE, you can put D for daily. And remember this order block. Let's mark that out. And what else is here for the daily? So if we, like I said, if we do come below the weekly order block mean threshold, we do have this low here and this imbalance here that I mentioned on the weekly. That is also a target that could potentially get hit if we do come below it. So also we do have this wick here. You can mark that out as a target for the upcoming week. Now let's head down to the 4 hour and see if there's anything else that we could add to this. So we do have this fair value gap here. I do want to mark that out since there is a portion that is unfilled, and it is pretty clear that it's, well, at a price level that is being watched right now. So definitely mark that out, and we have equal lows here. So definitely want to check that out and make sure we have that marked out too. It might seem like this fair value gap has been already used, but it is pertinent since it does match up with this higher time frame order block mean threshold. So keep that in mind and mark it down. You can put this as a H4 for 4 hour. Visi. Also highs here and here. Let's go down to the hourly, see if there's anything worth noting. Low taken here. High taken here too. Still ultimately in a bullish trend. If we come below this low, the trend would be very likely to break lower and start a bearish trend. So keep this low in mind too, especially after we take liquidity. There's a very high chance we come into this volume imbalance. So let's start to play what happened this week and see how this played out. So we came down into the daily wick consequent encroachment. The body started holding, and we did tap the high of the H4 BISI. That was marked out right here. So yeah, let's keep playing price here, see what happens. So basically for the New York session on Monday, we just had a displacement higher, taking out these highs and filling this imbalance. Let's play Tuesday now. Tuesday displaces higher. Thursday, 8 a.m. news sweeps the high, and then the 8 a.m. news gets swept and traded back lower into the range here. If you go on the 4 hour, there's definitely there you go, imbalance mixed up with these 3 candlesticks, which is a order block as well. Let's see if there's any sort of holding pressure there or some sort of like support that price wants to respect. There we go. And let's mark out the mean threshold. Didn't come right to it, but just held right above, and we just displaced higher. And yeah, that's Friday. This is the massive rejection on Friday. So yeah, guys, that's how basically you tell the weekly bias. Just go from weekly, put the raise where you want to target, where you want to where you expect price to hold as support. If you're bullish, as you can clearly see, there's a bullish trend. So put bullish PD raise that you want to see hold if they get broken through. Then put mark down draws to the downside that could act as magnets on price, and then go down to a daily, do the same thing for that 4 hour, and then you're done pretty much for the weekly analysis. And then just wait for Monday morning and start doing your daily analysis and match it up with the weekly analysis. And that's basically all it is. Next video is going to be the daily analysis, and we'll be going over that, matching the weekly analysis, so you guys could get an in-depth view of how analysis works and comes into play in my daily sessions of trading. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.